G'day folks, in this video I'm going to be doing a solve of the crazy Neptune cube. Now this is the third in this little series I'm doing. This is where things are starting to get a little bit more complicated, because what we have is this face, and this face, which are all zero faces. So these are three around a corner here which the centre parts don't turn, and the other three faces are one faces where those centre parts do turn with the face. So as I've said in the other videos, these are great puzzles. If you haven't got them, you really should buy them if you can. They're pretty cheap for what they are, and as I've said also, you can buy two complementary ones and make the full set should you want to. So with Neptune, we're still going to reduce it to a Rubik's Cube, but obviously things are going to be a little more difficult. So what we're going to start is just noticing that the white, red and green faces being those zero faces. You may remember with Uranus, if you watched that one, that we had to get that white-green edge in there first. So with this one, we actually need to get not only the white-green edge, but also the white-red edge, the red-green edge, and that corner. So we need to create that block as a first step. So how do we do it? Well, we start by doing something like, because that face can't turn, we want to turn pieces onto here and make an edge in one of these positions first of all. So I've got to get a white and a green down to here. So I'll notice there's a white there, that's good, and there's a green here, that's good as well, and you can see that that didn't affect that. Now that I've got that in position, I want to get the white-green edge and put it there. And this is just like we did it for the Uranus cube. So I put that white-green up, and notice we're using these faces, which are the one faces, to achieve what we want. So that's now in position, and I can turn that down with an edge piece series like that, and that's created one of the edges. Now the next edge that I want to do is either the red-green or the white-red. You'll see the red-green's in, but it's wrong, so I'm going to take it out first of all, put it up the top, and I then need to, I'm going to just turn that off and put a green piece here and a red piece here. So looking for a green piece, I've got that one, but it's with this edge, so I don't really want to use that one if I can help it. I've got this sort of one here, so I might turn, in fact I can't turn that, I've got to turn it off onto there, like that. And just always keeping in mind, I always like to check that I haven't broken something I've done previously. So that green piece has got to go around here, and at this stage I can just turn that around into position. Now I need a red piece to go here. Now if I just turn a red piece around, it will disrupt that, so I've got to be a little bit smarter. I've got to first find one, and I can see that there's one here, so I'm going to just turn that up into its position, just making sure not to disrupt that. Now the red piece is there, and I can certainly just turn that down like that, and it won't disrupt the green, but it will disrupt the white-green. So what I need to do instead is move this up to here. In fact, turn the red off, move that up so it puts the white-green there, turn the red onto its position, and then turn it back. And you'll see that it's kept that intact, it's kept the green piece there and put the red piece there. And now I'm ready to grab that red-green outer edge, which is here, and go and place that as I normally would. Like so. So that edge is done, that edge is done. Now we turn it around and do the third one. So this is white, red. First of all, got to get a white piece in here. So again, I've got to turn that down, but I'm going to disrupt this, so I might as well turn it off, position up, put it in. The red one, same sort of thing. Turn it off, position up, and on. And I'll just double check that everything else is still intact, and it is. So I now need to find the white red edge, which I can't. It's probably really close, that's what normally happens. Ah, here it is. So I've got to move it up to here, so I can just freely turn that, to be honest. There we go. Put that up to there, put it into its position, and now carry out my edge piece series. And that places, you can see the little structure there starting to build. So we've got the edges done, we now need to deal with that corner. And the way to deal with that corner is basically to choose one face as your bottom face, which is a one face. So in this case it'll be this one. And I'm going to go and place two of these corners here, not that one at the moment. I'm going to try and put a red corner here and a white corner here. How are we going to do that? Well, first thing is we're going to get a red and a white corner onto that bottom face. And so I can just turn that down like that. It puts them there and it doesn't disrupt any of this. Now, to put that white inner corner here, this red corner is attached to this green-red outer edge, and I need to attach a white corner to it. So what I'm going to do is turn this down like that. So I put the green-red edge down here, and there's the piece that's attached to it, which was the red. What I need to do is turn that white corner onto it, and now put it back up with the reverse moves. Now let's have a look what's happened. The white-red edge is still good, the white-green edge is still good, the green-red edge is still good, and we've put a white inner corner where it belongs. So the next one we'll do is this one, and this inner corner is attached to that green-white edge. So I've got to turn this edge to here to put the inner corner on the bottom. Now I'm going to be using a red one to replace it. Here we go. I can now turn that around, and because the first time turned my right face, now I want to turn my left face to reverse those moves. Everything gets put back, and you'll notice the red and the white are now there. Now I want to do something similar, turn the puzzle around and use this face as my bottom face. This is a green, so I want to find a green corner, put that on the bottom, and do the same thing. Like that, turn the green around, undo, and what we'll see now is that all the edges are still there and the correct inner corners are still there. The final stage of getting this little block done is to find that white, green, red corner, which at the moment is here, and I want to turn it so that if I'm using this as my top face, the white part is on the bottom. I want to turn it around like that and put it underneath where it needs to go. And to get it in there, I now need to carry out simply 3 edge piece series. Now because I've carried out 3, it puts the edges back, and because I'm using these 2 faces, it doesn't take any of the inner corners here with them. And so that has now put that corner in place and completed that little block. Right, so now that that's out of the way, the next part is to reduce the remaining edges. And to reduce the remaining edges, I'm going to use this face, because one of these faces has to be the one that does the edges. I'm going to do it like this. There's a green outer edge here that can go to a green inner. So I'm going to turn that around. Of course, it breaks this relationship. So now what I need to do is note that that is a yellow outer, put a yellow inner here, and then turn it back. So I've noticed that here's a yellow inner, turn it up. Now when I turn it back, the first green one we did is stored here, the yellow one's done, and that block is completely intact. And that is all we need to do, back and forth until all our edges are reduced. So I can put a red there. I've got to find a red inner to go here. There's one on the bottom. Turn it up to position, reduce that, and then note that that's green, so I've got to put a green inner back here. And where is one? There it is. And that had to go into that position. So I'm going to turn it up using those 3 pieces, which keeps this where it was. And now when I turn that back, that's reduced. And again, just to reassure you, all of that block is still where it should be. So I'm just always using these 2. There's an orange outer. Where's an orange inner? Right there. Put it on the bottom and turn it up. Noting that that's a blue outer, I now want to put a blue inner piece here. That's a yellow outer. I'm looking for a yellow inner piece, which would be that one. That's the orange outer, so I'm now trying to put an orange inner. I hope you can see that this is actually fairly simple. There's the orange inner. Now it's attached to the green face, so I can't just turn the green face around like that. What I need to do is turn it down using the orange face and then turn that off and do that. And that orange inner needs to go into that position. So once again, I'll put it up there, and now when I turn it back, you'll see that that is still intact, and that has been made. Now I've got a red outer, and I reckon we're down to the last couple now. There's the other piece, so once again I'm going to turn that to the bottom, and now look at where it is. It's got to go into that position, so I'll turn it around to there. That's a blue outer, so I now want to put a blue completed piece there, and when I turn that back, that blue will also go to here. That block has remained intact. All of the edges are now reduced. Now the next stage is to, basically we've got these edges here. We need, well, I lie, we don't need so much. It just makes sense to put the 4 correct white edges in their place. So I'm going to do that. Just turning the 1 faces. So I've got those 4 correct edges. They only need to be the same colour, but because we've got that block on Neptune, they really do need to be the white edges. And now I'm going to reduce the corners in a pretty similar way. So I'm going to look here and say, for example, there's a red outer corner. I'm going to put a red inner corner here that needs dealing with. And I'll first check if there's one down the bottom. There it is. I can turn that. Okay, that's there. I can now turn that face. That's reduced that. It's left me with an orange one to reduce. Now I need to put an orange inner here without touching this, basically. So I'll look down the bottom. There's one on the bottom there, so that'll work. And I can achieve that by up, up, down, down 3 times. And you'll see that leaves that stuff there. Let's put the orange inner, turn that off, and then it leaves me with the blue to do. And just noting, all of that is still there. So whack a blue there, turn that around, that's a yellow. Where's a yellow inner? There's one there. Blue outer. Put it onto a blue inner. You can see it becomes very, very quick. Now I've got to put a blue inner here. If I can locate one, and there's not one on the bottom, so where's the other one? Ah, it's on the same corner. So what I need to do then is turn a normal blue one in, which will deal with that, and then I can switch that around so that I can put it back with this. So I'll turn that off, put it back on reversed, and return that top face. Now we've got a white outer. Is there a white inner on the bottom? There is. And then I've got a yellow outer, which will have that one. Like that. That will turn everything. I reckon my white face is a tad loose, which is why it's just catching a little bit. Now most of these corners are done. What have we got, if not all of them? No, it looks to me like they're actually all done. Great. So that completes that next phase of the solve, which is reducing all of the corners. Now from here it's slightly different again from completing the Rubik's Cube solve. Because we've got this block that we can't really touch, what I'm going to do is firstly do the edges that are near the block. So I've got the red edge here and the green edge here. And then I'm going to use this as my jump off point, I guess. So that red green edge obviously is done. The red blue edge is done. What about the green orange edge? Where's that? Okay, it's up here. So just as long as I turn a non-zero face, that's now placed. And I'm now going to go and look at this one and place these other edges. The ones at the back certainly. So the yellow-red has got to go there. Where's the yellow-green? Yellow-green's here, so I'm going to put it down here first of all, and then turn its position, put it onto its position, and turn it on. And that puts those two at the back in. Now, obviously you can see I've got to turn that white face back. What situation do I have? I've got that orange-blue, I've got the yellow-orange and the yellow-blue, which need to swap. So that just tells me that I've got to do a single turn of the upper face and then resolve the two back edges. Like so. And now I'm going to find that I have either a 3 cycle or this situation where I've got these two edges in position but twisted. A number of ways you could do that. I'm just going to take them out first of all and then replace them with the edge piece series that gets the job done. Like so. You can see now that all of the edges are done. Now again, because of this block, that corner obviously is already done. What I need to do now, and just so you know why we had to do this corner first, if I tried to do this corner now, I would have to move it somehow, and whichever face I try and move it on, it's going to break it. So that's why we had to do that first. Now this corner here and this corner here are the next priorities. So first of all, the white, green, orange, where's that? Is that on the top? No. What about this one? The white, blue, red. Okay, that's on the top. What I'm going to do is use this part here because these three faces are all one faces. So as long as I only turn these faces, I'm good to go. I want to get that to there. Now if I turn that around, I can swap these two corners with a triple edge piece series. Now notice the white edge here is involved and this white corner is involved, but that's only because I've used that as a setup. I turn that back and that corner is done. Now I should point out that I don't care that it's correctly oriented. I mean, it's nice, but that's not the goal. The goal is simply to get it into its position. I'm going to do the same thing with the white, orange, green. Now that's up here, so I want to firstly turn the yellow face to put it there, give it 2 twists, and now do the same thing. And I'm turning down, down always to keep this corner into its position. If I turned up, up, it would involve that corner. Okay, that's done. I can now do the double twist and that white, orange, green, and that's normally what happens. It's in its position but twisted. Now I've got this corner and those left to go. How can I do that? Well, I guess a couple of ways. I've firstly got to make sure that my yellow edges are back into their position. What can we do? Well, we're going to yellow, blue, orange. I say, where does that go? That goes up there. So I'm simply going to turn it up with an edge piece series. Now clearly that's knocked some edges out and it's swapped these two corners, but I'm going to keep doing this until everything's back. So I next notice that's yellow, green, red. Where's that position? That's at the back. So I'm going to turn that position to the front and now just keep going up, up, down, down until that corner is correctly placed and oriented. Like so. I'm going to put it back just for good measure. What's next? Yellow, green, orange, which goes into that position. That's done. What's next? Yellow, blue, red. Turn that around, put it in. Now I'm going to turn this back and just take stock. It looks pretty good on the top, but clearly the edges are out. So what I've got to do now is just keep turning until the edges are all back and the corners are in position, and they'll probably be twisted. Now the edges back there, they are, and you can see that corner's back where it should be, that's back where it was, which is twisted, and that's twisted. And so we're now down to just having to twist the last two corners. And so you might have more than that. That's okay. If you do have more, you just approach it in exactly the same way as I'm going to do here. I'm going to do, in this case, I guess a number of things I could do. I'm just going to do a sune. And that has to go anti-clockwise. This one has to go clockwise. So what I'd like is to put this one here so that I can turn it back to there. So I'm just, as a setup, going to go, let's have a think. I'm actually going to turn that upper face and then front and then up. So up, front, up, and that one will twist anti-clockwise, this one will twist clockwise. Now I'm going to carry out firstly a sune. Having done that, a sune mirror. Now of course we've got the green face here. That's no good. I'd like to get the blue face there, so I'm going to turn both of them around to have a blue face and then perform a sune mirror, and you'll see that everything's okay there. Okay, what on earth were these setups? I had to turn that back. I believe it was up, front, up, so let's undo that. Oh, that's a front, sorry. Up prime is first, front prime, then up prime, and that undoes all that work and twists those corners, and you can see that the crazy Neptune cube is solved.